Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest,
Lou Pizarro.
Welcome to the show.
How are you, Meosha?
I'm good. How are you?
No
you
complaints.
look great. You look great.
I feel good. I feel motivated under the circumstances. Life throws some wild stuff at you, but you gotta figure out what to do with it. And move forward and help others move forward.
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
On the show, I always love to go back to from the beginning. And I always say that the beginning kind of shows like where we're like our trajectory in life, like where we're going and, where we're heading. So tell me from the beginning, your childhood, what was that like growing up and being Lou?
Well, it's crazy because I have an interesting story. And I'll share a little bit with you. I don't think we have enough time to go through my whole life and all my adventures as a kid, but originally my parents are from Puerto Rico. So, and then before that, of course, my family came from Spain.
Nice.
So, I was born in the Bronx in New York. So I was, out there as a kid early on, the times of, Cool Herc, when hip hop was actually being invented, when it was being created, at parties and stuff like that, Grandmaster Flash, Melly Mel.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then, my dad was a Korean War vet, bless him. He had some stuff going on out there, and, my mom was young and my dad was 30. My mom was 15 when they got married.
Wow.
So yeah, and that was kind of like the thing back then, right? My grandparents, the same thing. My grandfather was 30 and my grandmother was 15.
Wow.
Crazy times, huh?
Yeah.
So my mom and dad, they ended up getting a divorce early. And my mom was young, and my grandparents, they moved to California. My mom was all over the place. We ended up moving to California. So kind of, jumped from place to place. I lived in Puerto Rico. I was out there in a Yunque, which is the rainforest. I live right on the outskirts of that. As a kid, I would pick coffee beans.
Oh, wow.
So my life there, I didn't go to school. My sister Sonia, and myself, we were there. And that's what we did. We picked coffee beans. Got up early in the morning and ran through the jungle, like Mowgli. I've had some interesting adventures out there, and like some life-threatening adventures. Again, there's another story, but that's what we did. We picked coffee beans, and then the adults would take the coffee beans into town, and they would barter for cash, and they would barter for food and stuff like that, stuff that we couldn't grow.
Wow.
Or that we didn't have. So it was interesting. So it made me appreciate a lot of things, and most people don't know that about my life. But so I guess growing up in the projects too, I was always, after that, I was always figuring out what can I do, how can I create, my own opportunities, because it was rough. And again, my mom was working, and there was, my siblings and stuff, so we had to figure out how to eat. I had to figure out, how to get clothes to go to school, shoes. I mean, there was just a lot. And early on, I got to tell you, I was, I had the bug of, movies and TV and stuff like that. And I remember it's like finding a box. I lived in a project, and I found a box in the trash. And I went and I plugged it in my room, and I had this little TV, right? And the box was so you can watch this channel back then called On TV. And so when the boxing matches would come up, we couldn't afford to go to boxing matches or pay-per-view and stuff. So I'd have this box, and I had all kinds of wires and stuff like that. And so it was, at that time it was on TV and Z channel. So it would be doing all this, you know, but you can hear it going on, you know, Fraser goes down, just for example, right? And all of a sudden you'd see a quick picture. I'm like, yeah, we're all excited, you know, it's like, oh, and then it would go away and stuff. So it was one of those things where I was always attracted to, you know, adventure and exciting things, photography, you know.
Nice.
I remember, again, just to kind of talk about my childhood, I remember getting my first camera.
Nice.
Okay, now this is in the 70s, all right? So I got my first camera, and this is 1978, and it's called the One Step.
Wow. You
Okay.
still have it. That's amazing.
So now
Wow.
the thing about the camera, the film was expensive.
Mhm, mhm.
So I'm like, how can I, you know, do something to get money to buy this film? So I had to get really creative. So I was taking pictures around the projects, Polaroids, you know, and I
Wow.
was selling them.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, I did quite a lot of interesting things. I would clean cars. I would, you know, go to the grocery store for people. I did whatever to get a quarter, 35 cents, you know, 50 cents. And so yeah, I would save up my money as a kid. And I remember it's like at that time, you know, one of the big shows was Chips.
Okay.
Right. So, and you know, everybody wanted to be Eric Estrada, right? Including myself.
Yeah.
So, and at that time, it's like I had $25 saved up, and I went to the swap meet, the local swap meet, and I bought a mini bike.
Oh, wow.
I brought the mini bike home. I literally pushed it miles because it didn't run. I put it in my room. I took it apart, cleaned it, painted it half black, half white, got the CHP stickers that they would give away for the kids.
Wow.
And I put it on the bike. I got it running, and now I was Poncherello. So I would ride up and down the parking lot of the projects, you know, thinking that I was Ponch.
Yeah.
You
You're
know,
the cool
so
kid.
yeah. And funny enough, at the same time, there was this dating thing going on where if you wanted to date, you know, Eric Estrada, you know, you would enter this contest, and my mom entered the contest.
Really?
And I remember reading the letter, and I'm like, my mom said, I remember the first part. The reason why I think that we should go on a date together is because we're both Puerto Rican, we're both from New York, and you know, I was like, it didn't work out, right? My mom didn't win, but
Oh.
so I'll fast forward real quick. So I ended up meeting Eric many years later, while you know, because I was on TV and stuff, and we became friends. You know, I never told him the story. He doesn't know the story.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm at the airport one time, and my he's sitting right there, and my mom calls me, and she says, "Hey, I'm with your friend." And he gets on the phone. And he says, "Papi, what's up?" You know, we're talking, and I'm like, "Bro," I go, "Oh man, dude." I says, "My mom has always been in love with you, man. Let me just in advance apologize for anything that's gonna happen." You know, but it was a cool story. So I've always had these cool experiences, you know, that I like. But to kind of get back to my childhood, so you know, I had a rough childhood, but I never complained. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you why. Because I had 3 sisters that went through it.
Mm.
And who would I be if I was complaining, you know, as a boy, that my 3 sisters were going through the exact same stuff that I was going through. So I never complained about it. I did my best.
Yeah.
And that was it. But my mom, when she could, she would take us, you know, downtown to watch, you know, 2, 3 Shaolin movies for $4.
Oh,
Would
man.
take the bus. Yeah, and I was hooked, man. I just love martial arts. I love action. So there was a lot of contributions, you know, from my mom and family members. My grandfather, and my grandfather was a big role model in my life. I did some wild stuff because my grandfather was, you know, he was that adventurer himself.
Right.
Back in the 40s, 30s, and 40s, you know.
Wow.
So, you know, and I'll finish up the childhood thing, but you can say I've had kind of like a combination of Forrest Gump meets The Count of Monte Cristo. That's
Wow.
my life.
Wow.
So, yeah, so I'm blessed, man. And I still got much more, you know. It's like my story is not done.
Absolutely.
It's not finished. I don't know where it's going, but it is going.
I love that.
I'm Lou Pizarro, owner of EG Auto Recovery. I've been doing this for 13 years now. Repos are easy. The bank sends us over an order, we repo the car, and we get a check. That simple. I love it. I love the people we go after. They're kind, sweet, and loving people. We get in, we get out, no problem, brother.
My name is Sonia Pizarro. I've been a repossessor for over 8 years and I work for my brother. I love what I do, and when people look at me, they think I'm an idiot. Why am I there? The way I look, the way I dress, you know what? I'm not there for a personality contest. I'm there to take down well, good at it.
Hi, my name is Froylan, but all my friends call me Froy. I've been a repossession for about 10 years now. You know, I'm the cutest one in the group. I'm the shortest one. Of course, you'll be able to see that. I'm the locksmith, and I'm the funny one.
My name is Matt Birch, and I'm considered by most to be probably the prettiest repo man in the San Fernando Valley.
Hey, hold him right there. Put your hands on me again, I'll put you on your
I'm an absolute natural at what I do, and I'm just having fun out there.
Hey guys, Lou from Operacion Repo. Thanks so much for subscribing to our new channel. Don't forget to spread the word, guys, and give us some likes. Keep on subscribing.
I love that. That's, you know, I feel like that is, that's so beautiful that you did not become the circumstances around you. You elevated past that. Like a lot of people, unfortunately, kind of fall victim to their circumstances of what they kind of grow up in, or their, you know, but that is so inspiring to hear. So you got into the business. I'm sure that was tough. Like, how did you figure that out? What was the first thing you're like, okay, like, did you have like a plan of like exactly what you wanted to do in the business wise?
Yes. So now let's say I'm a young man, right? And I want to be a filmmaker. And it's an interesting story. So I started an internship at the local grip union. And so I remember it was I think it was like 30 days that I was doing with them, and I was on Lancashire in North Hollywood, just off like Riverside.
Okay.
You know, so that sidewalk right there. So we're filming there, and man, I am excited. You know, like week 2, I'm there, and I'm just doing whatever they asked me to do. And then I remember this one older gentleman comes up to me and he says, Luis, he says, hey man, you got to slow down. He says, you know, you're out working everybody. This is just not how it's done. He says, well, what are you trying to accomplish? I says, I want to be a filmmaker. I want to learn. I want to get educated. Yeah. And he goes, oh yeah, no, you know, it's not, you're never going to get into the union. And I was like, well, why? And he said, well, you know, 1, says you're not white.
Are you serious?
He says, 2, you're not related to anybody. And I was like, man, you're right. I said, you are right, man. Thanks for letting me know. I'm like, okay. So I finished up my intern, and then I went looking for a different job.
Wow.
So, and I wasn't offended by it. I was like, man, this guy, he has a point. I was a little naive at that age. You know, so, and now, I mean, you know, now it's a different ballgame. So this was actually 1986. So when that happened, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, all right. So I didn't think anything of it. Wasn't offended, nothing. You know, so I ended up getting another job. You know, I ended up working for a tow company.
Okay.
It was official police garage. In fact, that's where I learned how to steal cars, but we won't tell anybody. I mean, repossess them.
Right.
So that was my experience, you know, and I'm like, okay, there it is. But as a father, you know, I've always had video cameras. So I filmed everything. I got VHS tapes. I got beta tapes. I got tapes of everything, all my kids' birth, everything, you name it, because we didn't have that luxury as a kid. I have maybe 3 or 4 pictures as a kid. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't exist. So I made sure that I have so many videos and pictures of my kids